Welcome back to the Stanford Cardinal Dynasty. Our team has gotten off to a fast start to the season, already eclipsing the win total from last season through 6 games. We need just one more victory to become bowl eligible, something the school has not been to since 2018. They will have tough competition facing off against ACC staples, including the Florida State Seminoles coming to NorCal to kick us off. Elijah Brown has a hot hand after throwing for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns last week. However, he will face much stiffer competition against the Seminoles defense. The Cardinal got the ball here with 9 minutes left in the first quarter. They decide to start off with the run game, and Cedric Irvin busts through the middle. He picks up 17 to get inside of Seminole territory. Later on 3rd and 14, Brown's going to throw it, and he fits it into a tight window, somehow brought in by Jordan Anugwe up the seam to convert the first down. Then Stanford looks to cap off the drive when Brown drops back. He finds tight end 2, Brendan Doyle in the flats. He walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Stanford. Cardinals strike first in the opening quarter to put up 6 on the Seminoles. We skip ahead, second quarter, FSU ball trailing 7-3. Quarterback Tommy Castellanos, he makes the call. He bails from the pocket, looks to avoid pressure, throws it up top. He's got a man one-on-one, and it's caught by LaWayne McCoy for a huge gain. Later on the drive, Castellanos back to pass again from the 13. He feels the pressure, tries to bail again, but this time he's taken down for a sack by Wilfredo Ibar. FSU then faces a 4th and 1 on a 3. They throw for it, but it is dropped by senior receiver Squirrel Wright, and it's a turnover on downs. Crucial drop there for the senior receiver. The throw was a little high, but maybe White heard those footsteps coming and lost concentration. Stanford takes over, but they're backed up on their own goal line, and on 3rd and 6, they opt to throw forward, but the D-line gets immediate pressure, flushing Brown from the pocket, and he's taken down for a sack and safety by Deontay McCray. We now have a baseball score of 7-5 after FSU takes over. Castellano drops back to pass, and he gets a perfect pocket, finding McCoy crossing downfield, wide open for a big pickup. The drive does stall at the 10, and on 4th and goal, Jake Weinberg came on for the field goal, but it doinks off the upright and lands no good. Score remains 7-5. Stanford takes over with 3 minutes left in the half. Brown's going to fake the handoff and roll right. He sees the pressure barreling down on him. He throws it up for grabs, but it's intercepted by star safety Shaheim Moore. Errant throw there by Brown, giving the ball back to the Seminoles. Luckily, the Cardinal defense forces a punt, getting the ball back for the offense. On 3rd and 3, Irvin's going to take the handoff, bursting up the middle. He picks up the first plus more. After a holding penalty, it's 1st and 20 from the 47. Brown's going to throw it to the sideline, but he overthrows a man, and it's picked off again, this time by corner Jeremiah Wilson. Back-to-back drives where the FSU defense takes it away. This leads to a long 59-yard field goal with 7 seconds left, and Weinberg gets all of it, nails the long field goal, and the Noles take the lead going into half. Florida State's up 8-7. They have the edge in time of possession and passing yards, while the Stanford offense is sort of struggling, only gaining 4.7 yards per play. Third quarter now, Cardinal facing 3rd and 9 for the 45. Brown's going to drop back from pass. He's going to look for Caden High, who runs away from the corner, who picks up the first down and more, jukes off a man, and he's taken down. On the very next play, Brown back to pass again. He's going to look for Farrell on a quick out route. He turns it upfield, and he picks up 18 on the play. Cardinal look to cap off the drive. Brown takes the snap. He's flushed from the pocket. He darts for the end zone, and he runs it in. Touchdown, Cardinal. Tough drive out of the half to take the lead, 13-8. Seminoles drive now down by 5. Castellanos takes the snap from the gun. He tries to throw it short, but it's picked off by linebacker Matt Rolls. He's tackled at the 20, setting up great field position for the offense. However, FSU's defense was stout on the drive. On 3rd and 13, Brown throws it up for the end zone, and he just misses a man for a touchdown. This leads to a field goal attempt by Emmett Kinney. He knocks it through, extending the lead to 8. Stanford defense nursing an 8-point lead, and they decide to turn up the heat. Second down from the 29, Castellanos back to pass, but star edge rusher Tavari Tafiti bursts through the O-line and sacks the QB for a big loss. This also marked the standout's double-digit sack on the season with number 10. Fourth quarter now, Noles facing a 3rd and 7, down 19-8 when Cardinal run a stunt and the other pass rusher, Ernest Cooper, comes through for the drive-ending sack. 3 minutes left in the game. This is pretty much last chance for FSU. On 4th and 8, Castellanos going to go for it all, but it ended up being knocked down, causing the turnover on downs, and the Stanford Cardinal hold on to knock off the Florida State Seminoles as the defense pitches a shutout in the second half, and the 2 interceptions thrown by Brown early does not come back to haunt them. Cardinal improved to 6-1, but turned the page. After beating one Florida team at home, they head cross-country to face another Florida team in the Miami Hurricanes. The Canes are only 3-3 on the year at this point and have yet to beat an ACC opponent, so I'm sure they are hungry for a victory here at home in front of their rabid fans. Heading into this matchup, we did have a recruiting update as our efforts are coming to fruition as we landed another 4-star prospect in quarterback Marvin Childress, giving us a 4-star receiver and QB to pair with him. On the defensive side of the ball, corner TJ Blanco is heavily favoring coming to Stanford, but Penn State has entered the battle and could make it close late. However, another 4-star corner and Larry Kukis has put USC at the top in this battle, and we've decided to cut our losses and spend the hours elsewhere. With us likely getting Blanco to commit, I then decided to remove receiver Jabari Keys from the board as we will hit our 4-star cap for high school players this season after potentially signing Blanco. Getting into the action now, Miami is driving early in the first when transfer quarterback Carson Beck, he's at the helm from the 38. He fakes the handoff and then throws a laser to senior wide receiver Tony Johnson, who was wide open, picking up 20 yards. Later on 3rd and 1, they give it to star back Mark Fletcher, but he stood up by Scotty Edwards and Tafiti cleans it up, stopping them short. Kicker Bert Auburn came on for a chip shot field goal. He puts it through the uprights, giving Miami the lead early. Stanford drive now, and they were aggressive early, looking to go for it on 4th and 4 from the 38. Brown fires it to Farrell, but he can't hold on to the ball, and it falls incomplete. Farrell got the space he needed, but safety Jacoby Thomas closed the gap to break it up, forcing the turnover. Canes take over and they feed Fletcher. He sprints past the linebacker, then whoops, jukes out a defensive back on his way to 22 yards. However, the Cane drive stalls again, and Auburn comes on to put 3 through the uprights, making the score 6-0. Stanford drive now down 6. Brown's going to kick off this drive with a nice touch pass to Farrell, who hauls it in and holds on for a 1st down. Later on the drive, Brown back to pass again, and he fires a dart to Caden High. He breaks the tackle and dashes for the end zone. Touchdown Stanford, but there's a flag on the play. The score is brought back due to an illegal block in the back by star tight end Sam Roush. However, the drive did continue down to the 3-yard line, and Brown hits third tight end Benji Blackburn for a Stanford touchdown. Cardinals brush off the penalty to drive down and score the go-ahead touchdown. Same score midway through the second quarter. When Brown's going to drop back the pass, he's going to throw it up the middle, but it's deflected by a linebacker, and then it's picked off by corner Zachariah Poyser. He's going to return it back to the 32-yard line, and the Canes defense comes up big in the second quarter. However, the Stanford defense holds again, and Auburn ends up tacking on another field goal at the end of this drive, making the score 12-7 going into the half. Miami's offense has been explosive through the air, with Beck throwing for 186 yards and had almost double the time of possession in the half. Cardinal defense has kept them in the game, but the question will be for how long. Score was still close in the fourth, 15-10 Canes ball, when Brown drops back the pass on 4th and 5 and the protection holds up, but it's intercepted. Jacoby Thomas comes up with it, and he tosses Brown out the way before being muscled down by multiple Stanford players. Canes still looking for that first TD when Beck drops back from the gun, and then he's going to sling it up the seam to Tony Johnson, and that's a Hurricane touchdown. They finally break through and get it to the end zone. Cardinal defense has held out for this long, but unfortunately they end up breaking and finally allowing the Canes to score a touchdown. Later in the fourth, the score is now 29-10. Brown's going to try to throw it short, but is jumped and picked off again. This is O.J. Federique. He takes it and turns it upfield, and that's a pick 6 for the Miami Hurricanes to cap off a disastrous fourth quarter for the Stanford Cardinal. Final score here in Miami, 39 for the Hurricanes and 10 for Stanford as the offense fell off a cliff when it mattered the most. Carson Beck was on point throwing for 319 yards, but did take 4 quarters to finally put it in the end zone. Stanford offense put up 349 yards, but did so having to throw the ball 59 times. The run game only mustered 3.5 yards per attempt, and that went out the window after surrendering 2 touchdowns late in the fourth. Brown finished with 268 yards, a touchdown, and 3 picks on the day, where the defense kept him off balance. There was no 100-yard receiver for the Cardinal, but Marcus Brown did lead the team with 8 catches. After the game, we did get our final 4-star prospect to commit, as TJ Blanco will head to North Cal for his freshman year. At least we got some positive at the end of this ugly week. Well, that wraps up this one. Please hit that like button, and I'll see you guys next time.